I'm Chris Chambers and welcome back to Bluestem Botanicals. Today we're going to be making a rum old fashioned called the Bluestem Rum Fashioned out of this rum. This is Mount Gay Black Barrel Rum. It's one of my favorite rums. And one of the things I like most about it is the fact that it is actually coming from the oldest rum distillery in the world. And that's throughout all the geography of the Caribbean and South America and North America for that matter. The thing about it is it's got an essence of the antiquity of how spirit has been derived for hundreds of years. Specifically speaking, I want to make sure that people understand that there's multiple different types of rum that you can find all over the world. Some that is going to be derived of direct sugarcane, like rum agricole, which is RHUM, or rum RUM, which is usually made of the byproduct of processing sugar or saccharin. So you're either using the husks to make rum RUM, or you're using the actual cane juice to make rum RHUM. So there is a differentiation there. And not all rums are created equal. Some are barrel aged, some are going to be clear, which is, you know, a white rum, most would say that. Some are flavored, you see coconut rums and such. This is sort of looking back in the way of the 19th century, which is really when cocktails truly came to be. There is a cocktail book called the Harry Johnson Cocktail Book from about 1867. And in that, you'll find a lot of rum cocktails. You'll also find a lot of brandy cocktails. And the reason for that being is that that was most of the spirit you could find. If you start to look into the histories of, say, whiskey, where we would normally go to make an old fashioned, whiskey didn't really start coming into its own until the middle of the 19th century, moving into the latter part of the 19th century. So today we're going to go really old school, and the reason why, because we're going to be making it the old school way. All the botanicals we're going to use that are in both of our simple syrup and our bitters are grown right here at the farm. And as you can see behind me, that's no lie. The lemongrass is literally sitting off to my left shoulder. So we're going to be making things here in the old world way, and we're going to give it a little bit of modern flair. When you talk about old fashioned, sometimes people will tell you that an old fashioned should be muddled sugar and soda water. And that is technically, correct. And the reason why it's technically correct is because for one period of time, people did do that. But currently, in the modern era, contemporary cocktailing says we should probably look at those ideas, go further back and look at what history did, and then now, today, put our own spin on it. So that's what we're going to do here today. So first and foremost, we're going to have our two modifiers. And the modifiers that we have our lemongrass simple syrup, lemongrass grown right here on premise. And then we're also going to have our bitters. Now these floral bitters have multiple different ingredients, all grown right here on the farm. Rose geranium, lavender, chamomile, lemongrass, and something called Sweet Annie. And the thing that's really great is that this is sort of an amalgamation of everything. Bitters are one of these quintessent things in cocktailing where you're not just necessarily putting pieces together, but you have this magical piece of art that's already been happening. It already grew, it's already been gathered. It's a tincture of alchemy where you can engross the entire farm experience at the same time in one drop. And that's really where this comes in. A lot of times bitters tend to get left to the wayside, and I really want to impress upon you that the simple syrups are complex and rich and really do dial into a single flavor point or aroma or aromatic. The bitters are the quintessence of the cocktail. And if they're made right, if they're made in an organic way, if the efforts are really put in the beginning, they will show themselves in such a small amount. And you have to figure, if something is so small yet so powerful, then it has to have its building parts very specifically built. And that's what's happening here at Bluestem. So when we're building out this cocktail, one of the things I also really want you to understand is that building a cocktail is like a math problem. And in a math problem, there are specific values to give you that sum. Now, you could just start dumping things into a glass, but in honesty, if you start dumping things into a glass, it's sort of like baking cookies. You use a little bit too much flour, a little too much sugar, too much salt. Suddenly the cookie's this. It's not the same. You have to get it just right. And yes, Grandma was good with throwing a couple pinches of this or that, but she had her pinches down right. I would not suggest using pinches. I would suggest using the calculator to a cocktail, which is this. This is a Japanese-style jigger. It has a 2-ounce fill on this flute and a 1 ounce on here. They're also drilled inside, which you may be able to see in the camera, probably if you zoomed in a little bit with lighting though, but you'll see that there is going to be a drilled line inside for 2 3/4 or 2 1/2, and then there'll also be a 1/2 and a 3/4 on the opposite side in the 1 ounce. And the point of that is we want to have specifics when we're building this cocktail. We want it to be calculated so that the end sum is exactly what we want. Furthermore, we're also going to be using a method where we don't waste the most expensive part of the cocktail, which is usually the ethanol. So what we're going to do is build the cocktail first with both of our modifiers, then we're going to add our spirit, and only then are we going to add our ice. Reason being, dilution, which is going to happen through stirring with the ice, and then additionally, once we place it into our final glass over its finish ice, we don't want that to over melt. And by over melting and over diluting, we will ruin the balance of the cocktail, because one thing that a lot of us forget, I know my specific measurements for my simple. I know how many shakes I want to have of my bitters. I know exactly how much ethanol I want in there. But 1/5 of what's going to be in that glass at the end of this, give or take, is going to be water. Water is the most important thing. It's one of the most important things on a farm. It's clearly one of the most important things of your ethanol, which I'll just add that little bit right now. Water is the only thing that we actually purchase in a bottle of ethanol. Ethanol is odorless and flavorless. The barrel water, the water that's within each of these bottles is the thing you're paying for. So if you over dilute, if you overproof, you lower the proof of the spirit by adding so much water, you'll lose the flavor that you've paid for. So do yourself a favor, follow along, use the ethanol last, add the ice last, and then we'll be able to make a better cocktail. Let's begin. We're going to use a 1/2 ounce of the lemongrass simple syrup. I'm going to bring it to the 1 ounce side. I have a drill mark in there for 1/2 ounce. 1/2 ounce right into my stirring glass. I suggest a stirring glass or a Yari glass, depending on what you want to refer to it as. But the reason being, I have full visual of what's going on. Now, by the way, I just want to mention something. You'll note I'm able to talk right now. I don't have to rush. There's no ice in this glass. I don't have to rush through making this cocktail. I'm able to relax. I can have a conversation. Hey, Ma, take that out of the fridge. It's easier because I have control of the drink. Now, if I wanted to make, say, 2, I would double my additions, but I'd still have control. I wouldn't have to be rushing to beat the ice. Don't let the ice beat you. Beat the ice on your own. I now want to add 2 shakes of the floral cocktail bitters, which, as we talked about before, are really amazing. Now, these droppers actually give you a little bit more control than, say, the old style Angostura where you're shaking, where unfortunately, based on how much liquid is actually in that bottle, you may have to lightly shake or hard shake. This one, it's a doot doot. All right, try it with me. Doot doot. That's all we're gonna do. Just a little doot doot. Doot doot. That's it. That's all I want. Wow, that is absolutely amazing. Do yourself a favor while you're here. I want you to do something you'll see usually major cocktail players will do. Take just a little drop, place it on your wrist, really let the aromatics hit you. And I say this specifically to all of our female listeners too. Women have wonderful olfactory glands, men do as well. You'll get most of the flavor that you're looking to have is going to come from inhaling deeply. Remember, your sense of smell is your strongest sense of smell. So big deep whiff. Oh God, it's wonderful, right? And let it really break apart in your mouth. I mean, you can taste the farm in that one drop. And that should give you an idea of where we're going with this drink. So now we're going to add our ethanol into the cocktail. Our Yari has already got our modifiers inside, and I want to add 2 ounces of the black barrel rum. So I'm going to flip over my jigger here, and as you notice, this is the 2 ounce side. I want to make sure that I'm able to get exactly 2 ounces. And the way I want to do that is I want the liquid to come right up to what is called the meniscus, which is going to be the lip of the jigger. So I'm going to pour light. I'm watching it come up, it's right to the top, and done. It's that simple. That's going to give me control over the volume. I should have 2.5 and some odd ounces because I know I just put in 2 shakes. That's going to be the entirety of this cocktail. Now you might be saying, that's not enough drink. There should be more liquid in there. I've got this whole glass. Part of what we're looking to do is not necessarily deconstructed, but a basic modern style old fashioned where it's straight and to the point. The spirit is there to enjoy, the botanicals are there to enjoy, and we're not gonna over sweeten, we're not gonna over fruit. It shouldn't be fruit salad, it should be a cocktail. So that's what we're gonna stick with. At this point, I've got my finished glass, I have my Yari glass, I've added all of my ingredients, I'm still able to talk too, because I haven't added ice, so please keep that in mind. Now we'll add the ice. I have some standard kitchen ice, and you wanna make sure you've added an appropriate amount here because we are looking to chill and dilute. This is a Yari spoon, a long style cocktail spoon. And the idea is you want to press it against the edge. And if you notice how my hand is placed around it, very similar style to like chopsticks. But you'll notice that there is a braid around the spoon. And the reason being is that it will rotate. If I just simply place the spoon against, back of the spoon against the glass and rotate, I'm not bruising the spirit. I'm not beating up the ice. I'm not shaking. The whole idea of this is that I don't have any actual fruit juice in here. So I'm not trying to break apart any of the cellular makeup of what would normally be in, say, lemon or orange juice, which in our later cocktail, you'll note how much different that we go through that process. You also see the chill marks on the glass. It's showing that it's not only just diluting, but it is chilling the liquid within. So I'm going to keep this stirring for about 27 seconds, 30 seconds. I really just want to make sure that I've properly diluted, I've properly chilled, and then I want to discard this ice. This is dirty ice. And it's not that it's bad ice, it's been very helpful. But we want to make sure that the ice that's in here is not the ice for our finished cocktail. Now we've built a couple of nice spheres that we're going to use here just for look. And you can get these molds anywhere. You get them at Bed Bath & Beyond. You can order them on Amazon. They are wonderfully decorative, and they really do counter the amount of liquid that we want to have in our drink. Now this is properly diluted. I'm going to slowly and easily strain with this spoon over my rock. And you see how lovely that looks. It's got a bunch of really good color. The aromatics are wonderful. And there you go. One of the nice things about being at a farm, you don't have to worry about it. I'm gonna stick this to the side. Now I've got my finished cocktail, but I want to add a look to it. And one of the ways that I thought would look really lovely was that we have some fresh mint here from the farm that Eric actually just went and plucked for me for right now. So I have to tell you, if you're gonna make a cocktail, best bet, come right here and make one. You'll make sure that you get only the freshest stuff immediately. So I'm gonna pull this guy out. There's a beautiful sprig. And one thing I wanna show you guys, and you wanna work quickly with this because now we're on ice. I'm going to pull a rind. All right, so I'm gonna pull this nice big rind. And I usually try to grab a couple because you never quite know what's gonna look the best. And one of the big things that I always try to show people is to express and discard. So we're gonna take this, you'll see the pith inside and the juice, there's all kinds of oils in here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna express. Now, if we got in real sharp, you would be able to see that there is a spray of essential oils, yes, I know, essential oils, that come out of this rind. And we're just gonna rub it on the side, giving it all kinds of wonderful aromatic features. Yet again, farm time. Now that we're gonna be making a garnish, we wanna make something that's gonna have a lot of look and feel. I've already now pulled an additional peel that I've not expressed. And the reason why is I wanna be able to use it for look. I've got some fresh mint here, as I was just saying, that Eric just plucked from the field for me, which is wonderful. Now these two pieces of mint, I'm going to want to express them by simply slapping them. And that will break some of the cell walls within the plant fiber that'll actually release some of that wonderful mint aroma. And I want to take it like this, and I'm going to place it on my peel. Make sure that I get this the way I like it. All right. Now, when you're doing your garnishing, one of the last things you want to do is continue to think about your aromas and flavor. I like Luxardo cherries. There's a lot of brandy cherries out there. I think Luxardo makes a wonderful, wonderful cherry. And I'm going to just slowly dollop that cherry right in. And if you see, it's just kind of dolloping in and release. And that's really going to bring a whole additional level of flavor and aroma to the cocktail. Now that we've prepared our garnish, we're going to simply lay that inside, and this is our Bluestem Rum Fashioned.